Greetings everyone, Arcanist here. Today we're going to be talking about spells, specifically level 1 spells. Now, this is going to be part of a series that I do all the way up till level 9. This is my personal list of halves and kind of the stinkers of each class. Just because I say they're not great or I think there's a stinker doesn't mean that there's an exact place for it per character. I'm not saying that these spells should never be grabbed, but I'm just saying most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you're either barely going to use them or not get the desired effect out of it. But sometimes, if you're going for a specific build, I get it. Also, if you're starting a long-form campaign and you're starting at level 1, make sure you pick up a level 1 spell at some point that is going to maintain use or utility all the way through. Things like your shield, your mage armor, identify, detect magic, things of that nature. Now, starting first with alphabetically, we have the Artificer. Now, this is a very condensed spell list. You've got healing, you've got disguise self, all of those things are gold. So there's not much in this list that you can take and you should feel too worried about. Unless you're picking jump or false life. Especially down the line when you're going to have things like fly. You might even have someone with a grappling hook in your inventory. And a grappling hook's going to do better than 3 times your jump height. Also, false life, 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points. I know an Artificer's probably not going to have a lot when they start off, but you're going to burn a singular spell slot that you're not carrying a lot of just to get at most 8, at minimum 5 health. Put that spell use to better use. Like curing wounds and healing yourself for 1d8 plus modifier. Probably going to be more helpful. Now, a spell you might forget about for Artificer and kind of just look past, Expeditious Retreat. Now, Expeditious Retreat allows you to take the dash action as soon as you cast this spell, and then also use the dash action with every bonus action while you hold concentration on the spell. Now, that means you can take 2 dashes immediately. That's a lot of movement speed. Also, it doesn't say anything directly about your base movement speed, just simply that you can take the dash action. So, if you're already hasted by someone else's accord, and then you do Expeditious Retreat, the amount of speed you can get compares only to Sonic, in my opinion. You gotta go fast. Moving right along, alphabetically, to Bard. We're going to start also with a B word, Bane. As long as you hold concentration for up to a minute, up to 3 different creatures will take a negative 1d4 to all attack rolls or saving throws. And I don't need to tell you why having your enemies not make their saves is pretty solid. On top of that, you can also get them to not hit you. Yeah, a spell that is not pretty solid. Longstrider. Now, I know we were talking about movement with Expeditious Retreat, but Longstrider, you only get 10 extra feet added. I know, then you can take dash, then you can do all those other things, but is it really worth burning a spell slot just for 10 extra feet? Especially when bards have so many good level 1 spells, like Detect Magic, Identify, healing opportunities. Also, illusory script. Yes, it's cool that you can write something that only one person can read, but True Sight can see past it. I know not everything has True Sight, but it's also not hidden. It's displayed. People can see that there's a message there. It's just simply only one person can read it. Now, the sleeper hit for bards, in my opinion, Unseen Servant. It's a ritual, so you can just ritual cast it and not burn a spell slot. And then you have an hour where you have just an invisible butler. Whose life would not be improved by having an invisible butler? Carry stuff for you, pour wine while you're in a meeting, just anything. Also, he's invisible, so you can just have him hide in the corner and not tell anybody that he's there. And he can't attack, but there's a lot you can do that ain't attacking. Now, clerics are going to be a little different. They pick their spells every day, so we're not going to focus too much on the negative here, as you'll kind of see what works and what doesn't. While the other spells, they have spell books or spell lists that they have to construct. Whatever works for your campaign or doesn't, you'll find out and be like, I'm going to pass out, detect poison for something that I'm going to use regularly. Well, I guess I said there's Stinker, detect poison. I was saving that for another one. We'll still use it. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about the things that we are going to be holding as level 1 spells. Bless. It's Bane, but better, because it's for you. Well, it's Bane, but not negative. So Batman? You cast it on your allies, once again, up to 3 of them, concentration for a minute, and everything they do, attacks or saving throws or ability checks, get a 1d4 added to it. Also, another spell that clerics are always going to be using, Guiding Bolt. 4d6 radiant based off of a spell attack? That's probably one of the highest damages you can get out of a level 1 spell. But it does more because it gives advantage on the next thing that attacks it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's an ally of yours, it's just whoever attacks it next, but if you're already hitting it with Guiding Bolt, you want it dead anyway, so go for it. Now the sleeper hit for clerics is an interesting one. Ceremony. Not a lot of people use Ceremony because its effects are ultra-specific and a little niche. But as a cleric, you pick your spells day to day. So if you know the scenario is coming up, you can just take it that day. Some of the benefits of Ceremony. You can touch a dead body and it can't be turned undead for 7 days. Oh, we gotta come back to resurrect this guy, but we don't want someone to bring him back. Boop! And he won't be. You can marry 2 people together. Now they will only get this effect once because they do not recognize divorce. 2 people get +2 to AC for 7 days. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Young adults can get buffs to ability checks. You can also make holy water out of it and fix someone's alignment if it's been altered recently. Once again, you can use this reactionary and be like, oh, well, I don't have ceremony today, but I got you tomorrow morning, homie. Let's tie him up, though. He is chaotic evil now. Moving right along to Druid. Once again, like Cleric, they're a little bit more loosey-goosey with their spells, so that makes things a little easier here. However, Entangle, a 20-foot radius area, Find Sprite Out, making difficult terrain, and restraining all creatures, based off of a strength check, of course. That's amazing. Restraining all the creatures in a 20-foot radius? That's a lot of radius. And then on top of that, they gotta spend their actions to break free. You're restraining, you're taking away actions. This is an amazing first level spell. Just like Goodberry. You produce 10 berries that provide all the sustenance you need for a day and do 1 point of healing. It's pretty dope. I mean, remember, Healing Word only does 1d4 plus your ability modifier. So if you've got a +5 as a first level, that's a max of only 9 damage. So technically this could do more than Healing Word. And sure, you don't get to do it at range, but once you've created them, they're physical objects that are now interactable. They're not gone once you've done casting them. You've got 24 hours to consume them before they lose any sort of power. So you could stack these puppies. Now let's talk about the Druids. Not so great spells. Fog Cloud. You make a 20-foot radius clump of fog, which I don't know if you've ever looked at fog. 20-foot radius of it's really not that great. Also, you have to concentrate on it for up to an hour. Do you really want to waste concentration on a fog cloud for an hour? Also, wind can just take it away. It says it in the spell that a high wind can just brush it away. So, just wait until wind for an hour? I don't know what they were going for with this. If they had made it no concentration, maybe I could see the benefit of it. But I don't understand. I really don't. Now, the sleeper hits that are going to be pretty solid and kind of get benefits for long term, Fairy Fire and Absorb Elements. Fairy Fire gives you advantage on everybody that fails a dexterity save in a certain area because they're highlighted with light, and also gets rid of invisibility. Not a thing that you have to deal with at level 1 that often, but you might deal with invisible enemies down the road. And I think your rogue and your barbarian and your fighter are always going to be happy that you made it. You gave them advantage on attacks. Fae Fighters. Mwah. Now, Absorb Elements has its place for certain druids that like to get up close. As a reaction, you get to absorb half the elemental damage coming in at you, and then you get to dish some of that out on the next melee attack. For those druids that like to get up close and personal, who doesn't want to dish out a thunder paw? Sounds pretty dope to me.
Hey everybody. Now because I love to ramble, I found no perceivable way to get this video under 15 minutes, so I wouldn't be able to upload it. So I decided to break it down into 2 different videos. Expect the other one coming sometime next week. Now, if you're looking for more of me and you haven't followed on Twitch yet, you can find the link below, as well as this site and a few other of my social medias. So, if you enjoyed the video, I'd love a like and a subscribe. And if you disagree, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks again, guys, and we'll be seeing you shortly, and don't forget to make some memories.